I don't know why I'm in such a happy mood. Cool. Yeah, yo. Welcome to the Goodman audio experience. I am here today with Danny, Ade, and Omeli from You Get Podcast. I'm actually happy he's here because he talks a lot of sense on his own thing. So welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. Today, you know what? I was speaking to Danny earlier and I was saying, asked him if he had watched the film Social Dilemma, documentary, innit? Yeah. And privy to that, he had a conversation with Riz about, I'm just talking about everyone's conversation, but he had a conversation about social media and business and taking a break, but you have a business. And actually watching that show made me realize, like, them apps have really got us hooked, like, differently. And yeah, I would actually ask you guys today, what is your experience with social media now, currently, since lockdown?
I feel like, for me personally, my screen time has just gone through the roof.
And it's not just me.
You know, like that?
No, you know what? Like, a lot of people, obviously, most of us are working from home now. So as a result, we've got the phone by our sides anyway. It's not like if we're in the office, we're in meetings, and you know we're not on our phones on the desk and so on. We've got our phones with us all the time.
Yeah.
The natural instinct is for us to pick up that phone and see, have I got a message? Have I got a new notification? What's going on the timeline now, whether it's Twitter, Instagram, etc. So that's number one. And then secondly, just as a business owner who, you know, I launched my business back in July, I feel like there's now this, and this is what I was talking to Rizzy about, this incessant need to constantly interact with my follower base, this constant need to interact with my customers. How can I grow more? How can I do more? How can I engage? How can I build the brand? And I think that drive and that inherent need to do that has been shoved ahead of actually, how is this impacting my personal time and my personal health?
Yeah.
Am I present when I'm with my friends and family? Am I present when I'm just with myself mentally? And I think that's something that I perhaps don't have the final answer yet, but I'd be really interested to hear your thoughts on you know, how are you dealing with your social media now, and how does that affect your personal time and mental health?
Okay.
Who wants to go first?
No, I'm notorious for not replying because if I'm on my phone, I'm completely consumed by it. But the moment it's down, I completely forget it exists, and I can forget it exists for like days. Like, yeah, it's terrible. But for me, because of that, I guess, bad habit, I'm in a weird position where, because of like the way things are now, I'm benefiting from the good side of that.
Yeah.
My social media time's gone straight through the roof as well. And the only thing I think that's keeping me balanced is the fact that if I put my phone down, like if I decide if I'm doing something else, I don't want my phone like to be part of that. I'm doing something else. So if I'm sitting down to eat with someone, if I'm watching something, if I'm at an event, my phone is like, I'm there in that moment. So I guess for me, it's been really easy. The only thing is everything has been intense. Everything like news-wise has been intense. So the times that I'm on my phone, like every emotion that's being expressed, that's being felt collectively is intensified in this. Like, you're going to see 1,000 feeds about if someone's died, 1,000 feeds about it. If you're like there in a week, you're going to see 1,000 think pieces. Everyone is talking about that thing, and it feels like it's really, really, really intense. It's almost like a pressure chamber for every single topic that comes up. And I think that is, we don't notice it until it's like, oh, it's actually kind of hot in here. Like, but you're part of it. That's what the other thing I've realized. Like, you're commenting, it might be the light bit at the beginning. You're like laughing here and there. It might not even be a comment. It might just be a share. And then by the time it's like, whoa, there's actually a lot of this. Or, whoa, this is affecting me. Or, whoa, why do I feel so, like, everything for me personally is fine, but why do I feel so down? Well, check your feed. Like, you're exposed to so much. A lot of people going through pain, and you're just there. You're in the middle of it. But because you're not physically there, it takes a while to notice that. So for me, there's been that. But apart from that, yeah, because I'm very lazy with my phone. That's saved me.
You say lazy, that some people can look at that like that's discipline.
Yeah.
That's what we want.
It's not intentional. It's just because I have a personal disdain for I just don't like phones Yeah. So because I like interacting with people, all that stuff, but because I don't like phones, naturally I'm not gonna want it to be part of other things. Yeah.
You've just given everyone your alibi for why you don't reply to their WhatsApp.
No. The thing is, I tell people this from the beginning of like, if I think, we're gonna be cool, I was like, I'll tell you now, I don't like phones. I'm terrible at replies. I would rather meet you and sit down and talk for 5 hours straight than be on the phone for more than 30 minutes. I don't want to do it. I might do it, but whilst I'm doing it, I would like for you to be aware that right now I'm doing something I don't want to do.
Yeah, this is my compromise.
Yeah.
But like I'm a bit similar to you as well in that sense but with me, I've turned off all my notifications. Yeah, I've turned it off. That's what was, and that's why it was a bit scary watching that show, because all it was about was how they use different techniques to get you back onto social media. And there was, sorry to this is, what do you call it? When you're talking about the show. Spoiler alert. There's a part where the guy was like, the boy had to stay off his phone for 1 week.
I'm visibly shaking because I haven't watched it yet. So this is a real spoiler.
But there's so much more. But regardless, it was the fact that they created so much techniques to get you on the platform. And the ultimate goal for Facebook or all of these platforms is just literally to keep your attention for as long as possible. Yeah. And then when I realized like for example, every time I went on my Instagram, I just saw girls. And I'll see girls and it'll be their best picture. It could be a picture they posted 3 weeks ago.
Interestingly, did they look alike? Where they built it, was it the same features? Was there like were you starting to say like, hold on a second, these are all looking like each other?
Thick body girl.
Okay.
Yeah. Why? I feel like I've incriminated myself. But regardless, I just had to mute bare people. I had to mute. And then I think over the course of this week, I've seen less of that now. So that means I haven't been on my Instagram as much as I would normally used to. But the actual issue I'm having, similar to Danny, is when you have a business, regardless if you like it or not, you got to speak to customers. Sometimes you got to interact with, it's actually business that you're on there for. So knowing to kind of just slam the phone down and say, that's it, I've done what I needed to do and not get drawn into it. But then again, I feel like the whole thing about algorithms, I'm not talking about in regards to posting and stuff, but what it presents you is stuff that will keep you on there. So I'm into boxing. Show me old boxing fights. I'm a sucker for old boxing fights. You know what I mean? You show me a fight, you could show me Anthony Joshua's fight against Klitschko 100 times. Every time I see it, I'll click on it. Because that fight was historic for me. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Similar to how Tyson was for other people, AJ is for us. So, just always knowing, now I'm consciously knowing that everything I'm being shown is to keep me on there now. It kind of takes the, that innocent vibe that you have,
the childlike fun from
it. I did. I was like, oh my gosh, I thought about it and now it's appeared on my phone. The universe is working in my favor.
Now it's connecting all the dots. I was meant to buy this phone.
So I'm at that stage where it's okay, cool, I'm very aware of it. And it's scary how many people ain't aware about it. And that's kind of you know what I mean? Some people could watch that show and say it's trash. But I see it for what it is. It's proper and a serious addiction. Some people find comfort in it. You know what I mean? So
I get it.
But do you think that awareness is enough? Because we've known for quite a while. Now that social media can keep you hooked, can keep you addicted and so on. But people haven't done that much to change it or to change their own behaviors. And no matter what the platform is. So do you feel like this documentary or other documentaries is enough to change how people are going to behave? When we've seen that throughout lockdown, people are spending more time on their phone, whether it's social media or not. As in, where is that change going to come from?
I think it's a scary situation because right now what we have here is, first comes the knowledge. You're now aware that, this app or this application wants to keep you on there. One of the key things I realized that, made me frown a bit about my Spotify was it recommending content that I didn't subscribe to. I hate that. I hate that. Don't try to predict what I like. Even though if I do like it, don't try to predict it. Because what they want to do is keep you on their app. Second thing is, the people that create the apps are now shifting the goalpost. So you guys say, I don't want to be on it too long. I don't want to be having to engage. Well, now, guess what is now a metric? Engagement. Guess what? Before it was likes. I don't want to keep liking stuff, or, liking is messing up my, my feelings about what I'm posting. You remove one metric, which is liking, and now it's like, oh, if you save the picture to a collection. So no matter how aware you get, what you will come across is the fact that even if you do try to shift your view on it, the metrics are always going to pull you in one other way. So you don't want to keep engaging with people. You want to put your phone down for Goodman Factory. Well, now if that social media aspect is like engagement is the key thing that drives sales, what do you do then? They've now shifted the goalpost. Yeah. If you want to win, you have to win on their rules, which means you have to be on their app engaging. So you kind of paint yourself to be like, well, basically you get to a point where I know I'm drinking poison, but if poison helps me win.
You know what I think for me, what I feel like it will change for like the older generation, but like for the youths, I wouldn't say I'm concerned, but it has become more of a way of life for them than it has for me. I've seen the both sides of, I've lived a life with no social media and I've lived a life without social media. I don't know what it's like to have a life just social media and then trying to remove yourself from it. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It was easy not to create a Facebook account. It was easy not to be on MySpace. As much as there was a lot of people on MySpace, there was a lot of people that weren't on it. Yeah. And the same thing with Facebook. I wasn't on Facebook, but Instagram got me. Snapchat. You know what I mean? There's so many now. It's like there's a
a passport.
Yeah, there's a social media platform for every platform for somebody. And then to kind of say, okay, with all these tempting options, I don't want it, is going to be, I think, something that's more of a rarity as the future goes on, as opposed to it being a thing where I'm not on it. Because it's rare now that I even speak to anyone and they say they're not on social media completely. You see what I mean?
And even when they do say that, you're like, who did you kill?
Yeah, but it's easy
why you
to
not?
see that in the sense of if you're just on your purpose, you're just working all the time, social media is the last thing. And almost like got these kind of like half a social platform like Netflix, where it's not social media, but I could see how Netflix could take your time from going on Instagram. You see what I mean? So it's like this, like we have those type of platforms, but there's going to be a stage where Netflix might say they want to be more social.
Of course. I think they already started something of like live watching TV shows together.
Yeah, and they might start saying, okay, cool, that conversation that you might have on Reddit, you could have it on Netflix. I'm not saying that we know it's there, but there's essentially everything is going to become social because obviously companies will need to expand, make more money, so and so, and so.
But then I guess the question is, a lot of these things, obviously, we're looking at it from a negative perspective. But as people who, you've got your own podcast, you've got your own business, you also understand the opportunity and the value.
Yes.
Even, look, the very fact that I'm here is because I connected with Rizzy originally through social media. That's how this came about. So we know that there's so many benefits and so much value that can come about from it as well. I guess with anything, too much of anything is bad for you.
Yeah, facts.
So it's understanding what is that balance and what does it look like for you, and can you implement it. For me personally, it's something that I historically have struggled with, and I've had good phases of this is how I'm going to limit my screen time, I'm going to set limits and so on. I'm going to make sure that if I'm at the dinner table, no phones. The little things like this I think really do add up. But the broader question is, how can a community or a broader population understand and implement balance? And I think that's the question that is unsolved. And whether it's social media or just tech in general, using your phone or spending time on Netflix, the very fact of Netflix recommending you shows to keep you on, or their 5-second window in which you go into the next episode and you think, oh, I'm here now, let me just watch the next one, I'm here.
Well, since I'm here.
It's 3 a.m, but I'm here now.
I gotta go work at 8, but who cares?
It's definitely a gift and a curse. Actually, what you just said reminded me of a post I saw by Gary Vee, where he was showing like 19 19 and it was everyone on the train with newspapers. And then in 2020, everyone on the train with phones.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's still the same thing. It's all attention. I think, I don't know if as human beings or as a culture, we've always wanted something to entertain us.
Or distract us.
Yeah, distract us from the lives we live. I don't know if that's something we've consciously chosen or if that's what's been presented to us, but we've always had some form of entertainment that kept us distracted from whatever it is. Do you get what I mean? What's going on at that time? Even if it's not events like gladiators, the newspapers,
circuses.
You know what I mean? It's always some. So it's like now it's in the palm of your hand. And that's the stage we're at now. But the attention thing is something that's always going to be there. And this is where it's like, I can't really say it's bad or good because, like you said about businesses, I wouldn't have this without the attention that social media gives in general. You know what I mean? All our consumers is been through social media. We haven't had to do any live events yet.
Or brick and mortar.
Have a shop and so on. It's because there's so much attention on Instagram, so much attention on Twitter, so much attention on the internet. So it's a weird one. Like if you could use it for your way, then it's a good thing. But then at the same time, I do feel like there is a cost from your mental health because you're always on your phone. I know my eyes have probably slightly got worse since this whole lockdown just because of how much I've looked at my phone.
You're right, and then there's always a cross cost benefit in terms of like how much you're going to use something. When does it get detrimental? And obviously with the COVID pandemic, things are never going to be the same again. You know, the high street may never be the high street again. And I feel like one of the key things that you said, Danny, yourself, Ade, and Maliki, you know, I think the key thing is imposing your will on social media. You have to impose what you want from it. And you speak on it about the childlike naivety. Yes, it's gone. We've aged out of it, you know. And I'm not saying it just for us guys. I'm saying a generation has aged out of it. The kids now, you go to a new school, back in our day, say the early 2000s, that would be nerve-wracking already. Nobody would know you. You could be from the same city. No one would know you because you went to school in a different borough. Now all of a sudden, what's your Instagram at?
Yeah.
Who do you know?
They probably know you before you get there.
Exactly. And it's a case of like, we're moving away from a world where it's the question of, oh, your name's John. What's your surname? Is your name's John? What's your IG at? What's your Twitter at? Because what now is, I don't need to engage in conversation with you. I can see your content is if you're for me.
Yeah.
Do you talk about Man United? Oh, this guy, does he talk about the
similar,
NBA?
like to the bully's reputation or the gallest or the coolest guy in this area.
You don't have to be the best footballer in the school anymore.
Yeah.
You could just be the person with the most clout.
Yeah. Facts.
I feel like
anything for clout.
I feel like the thing that we forget is that your attention is actually a part of you. Because I think that essentially all that's happened is that attention's always been commodified. Like the example, like it's been gladiators or newspapers or TV, now with social media. But now everyone can monetize attention. Everyone can say, oh, I want some of your attention. Look at this, like this, buy this, like listen to this song. Everyone can do that now, but not everyone understands that the price of receiving that attention is giving a part of yourself. And I think it's a psychological part of yourself, which if you do not understand how, like the value of that, and you keep giving it, I feel like that's why a lot of people have like a bunch of followers and say they feel empty.
Yeah.
Because you've been given and given and you didn't realize the cost, like the value of what you're giving. Yeah. And now you've stopped and you're like, okay, cool, I have all this attention, but
what did it cost me?
Where am I?
I think it's interesting, you know, going back to both of your points, actually, I was watching this Elon Musk interview not too long ago, and he talks about social media and entertainment in general, whether it's even going to the cinema, as being a distillation of reality. That we watch this to separate ourselves from our actual day-to-day reality. That our day-to-day lives are, you know, for the most part in general, we get up, we commute, we go to work, we come back, have dinner, gym, repeat, and then on the weekends we enjoy ourselves. But when we go to watch a film, or we've got Netflix on, or we're on social media, we are seeing the highlights of what life is and or could be. And that distillation of reality is almost the day-to-day matrix. That's our simulation.
Yeah.
That's our dopamine kick that we're getting every day. When we go to the cinema and all the lights are off and dimmed and we are just laser focused, for 2 hours, we have escaped actually what our reality is. And for that brief moment, I'm thinking, that Avenger right there, that's me.
That is me.
That Tony Stark, that's me.
Yeah.
So
when he clicked his fingers, I did cry. Yeah.
My throat was so dry.
I don't want to die.
Mr. Stark.
But yeah, I think it's an interesting way of looking at it, I think. And, you know, it speaks to what you're talking about as well, as our attention has been commodified, and these companies and organizations and platforms know how to utilize it and leverage it in a way that benefits them, both now but also in the long term in terms of profits.
Because essentially social media keys into something that's like really natural. That's the real problem. Like it keys into that being stimulated, having a positive like neurological effect, and then wanting that stimulation again. That's what makes you eat food. Like it's a natural thing. Because it's a natural thing, it's not going to evolve out of humans. So as long as there's that pathway of positive stimuli, positive response, and then you're going to want that stimuli again. I don't think that is the issue. I think it's a big thing, like you mentioned earlier, about commanding what you do in that platform. Yeah. Like if you're on there for a business, your positive stimulus is your business doing well, not the likes necessarily. Yeah. Or you need to like program your mind to reattribute likes to be like, oh yeah, likes full stop, to likes means business progress, and the business progress is what I guess we need to like look back and ask yourself, why do you actually like being on this app? And is the reason you like being on this app a healthy reason? Because humans are not going to come off it. The only way to stop the damage of social media is to remove all social media. That's not going to happen. But the only way we can protect ourselves is to like reassess, why does this actually make me feel like I'm receiving a benefit from this? Am I? Yeah. If I'm not, it's kind of mad that I feel like I am, no? And start asking those questions. Without that, it's like I feel like we can talk about this till like the sun goes down, comes up again, but it's not gonna go away. And like you mentioned, it's just you have to command it. Like it has to be your decision.
Yeah, you learn to live with it.
Yeah. No, I don't think learning to live with it is, in my mind, that translates to like adapting yourself to fit within it. But I think you need to bend it into your personal life and bend it into your own personal plans. I think, like it has to be by force. Bend it. Like it's not going to bend. It's trying to draw you to pay more attention to it. You need to use it as a tool within your plan. And that's work. I think maybe a lot of us need to think about, like, how do I do that? How do I make all the time I'm spending on this feel progressive?
I think the ultimate key to that would just be social. I have a great marketing friend that was saying that the number one reason why a lot of people feel like they don't get anything out of it is because they've kind of treated themselves or treated their business in a space where it's like they feel like they're on top of, they're seeing from like an above you. And like one key thing I've always known, like that will make it more easier for you to be on social media, is to actually just be social and have real life engagement. So it's worthwhile being on there. Like I like when I go on social media and I actually learn something from somebody, not a meme, not a square post. That I'm talking about from a live conversation. I've seen something and I'm like, oh wow, like this guy's talking fast. That moment wouldn't have happened without social media, because I would have never seen them on road or been in their environments. So yeah, I think like one key thing is that maybe we need to understand how to be more social and not present ourselves in a way in which we're not in real life. You know what I mean? I know what I'm into in real life. It should be consistent with my online presence. I think when you get to a stage where you don't give a crap about what people think, it's much easier to do. And that's the stage I'm getting at, where I entertain what I want to entertain and I don't entertain what I don't want to entertain, period. You know what I mean? I'm social with the stuff I want to think, and where I know I have no interest in, I don't get involved. With social media, it's very easy to get bullied into conversations, but you should try hold your light as hard as possible to not fold into something you're not supposed to get drawn into. You know what I mean? I remember those moments where like you'll hear conversations and be like, your silence is deafening, blah, blah, blah. And you're like, what? Like, you don't know what I'm going through.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? You don't know what my life is. So you can't just tell someone or say, oh, yeah, because this and this and this happened, you need to talk about it. Maybe I have nothing constructive to say on it, or I don't have a view, or, you know, I'm dealing with my own life.
Or my views are to myself. I still have that right to not share.
Yeah. And I feel like and that's where social media is at sometimes. So I feel like it's very important we can just learn how to hold our light. And definitely use social media for us to bend it, you know what I mean, for our own purposes.
Yeah, 100%.
And be selfish with that.
Yeah.
I don't compromise on my attention. My attention is like valuable, you know what I mean?
The most valuable.
If like right now I'm learning about properties, there's so much good information I'm getting online. Some could be bullshit, blah, blah, but there's things I didn't know that I'm now considering now. So yeah, I'm bending it to my, you know what I mean, by being social, but socializing with things that I need to socialize with.
Bending it to your will.
Not just like for me, I wanted to stop lusting on Instagram and seeing things, so I muted everything.
Okay.
And that's it. So BBWs and all of that, out of here, you get me? So yeah.
But there was a tweet I saw not too long ago, and I think it's going to be a problem for the next generation, which is it's getting to a point now where your online person, like your online identity,
your avatar basically,
is more valuable to people than your actual being.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And it's getting to that, like, people want to monetize your online personality. They want to monetize the fact that you get interactions online. They want to monetize the engagement online. That has so much value to them. And it almost feels like no one really cares if you're living in a 1-bed like council flat and you're sleeping on a bin bag. If on Instagram it looks like you're taking private jets and you've got 75,000 likes on that picture, no one actually cares what the reality is now.
100%.
And I feel like it's going to drive empathy way down. That's my worry for the next
generation.
There's
no such empathy for the next generation.
Because you see it on Twitter now.
Let's be hopeful, guys, please. Like, we all have nieces and nephews.
I see it though.
I think there'll be isolated pockets of progressive like behavior still. But one of my friends, she wrote a poem at the end of it. She was like, isolated progression or isolated success does not drive total change.
Yeah.
So I think there'll still be hope. Like, some of us will be fine, or some of our like nieces and nephews will be fine. But collectively, there's so much drive. It's like, it doesn't matter. Your feelings don't matter. Like, you're going to get these jokes. Exactly.
One way or another.
If you're getting a certain amount of interaction, then you matter. Like, if you tweet something and 75,000 people retweet it, it doesn't matter what it is, you're going to get at least a couple thousand followers of that. Cool, you can market this, you can do this, you can earn, now your value's gone up. Whereas before, it might have been a degree, or it might have been social status, or it might have been what you did for your community. Now it's what... I was talking to my cousin.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, cool. This is what I'm doing in the UK. I've got a few ventures I'm doing with friends, blah, blah, blah. You're in Nigeria. Let's start something similar there. He was like, oh, okay, cool. How are we going to get the followers up? I was like, do you want to hear the idea first? And it's become that. And I understand that. And it's scary because it's like, okay, cool. I don't want them to not be successful.
Yeah.
So I do understand why they want to take advantage of this. But at the same time, do they understand what they're selling?
That's the thing. Clout now is a new stock exchange.
But do they understand how expensive it really is?
Nah.
But do you think is because you made a good point earlier. Before this, it was in newspapers. And when TVs came up, everyone back then was probably saying, oh, TVs are rotting our kids' brains.
Yeah. True.
It's just the same. The game is the same. The product is different.
Yeah.
I agree and disagree. I agree in that the game is essentially the same, and the product is different. However, like, my caveat would be the price is not the same. So
Agreed.
The price to the attention that a newspaper took didn't require you to necessarily change who you were to read other people's opinions in response to that. Or you could buy a TV in your house and only watch the channels that agreed with you. But now in social media, it's like you are like, on day one, you're like, oh, I'm here. And you're like, oh shit, no one's following me. That guy's got a bunch of followers. What do I do to gain more followers? At first, maybe, oh yeah, tell your friends. Oh, I want more followers. Oh, let me post pictures like this. Let me everyone's posing like this. And then you're in. It started now.
In the matrix.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's asking you to, not necessarily asking you, but it presents a kind of aspirational background to everything that's happening in the world. Like you said, it's a show reel of all the great moments, or all the really intense moments, or all the moments that really matter. So now everything you post has to feel like that.
Oh, 100%.
And now it's costing you like your authenticity to engage in it. Whereas a newspaper, you could read it and be like, or most people, you're not going to read every single page in the newspaper sometimes.
What do you feel like there's an overconsumption?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Because this is the question I would ask in response to that is where would you say the healthy cutoff point would be for social media?
But this is why it goes back to what I was saying earlier. I think now it's like you incorporate into your life. Like you can't do anything about it. There's no point trying to exit out. Incorporate into your life and choose how much % is part of your life. Like for me, the benefits is me working hard and doing so many other stuff. I generally can't be on social media. When I'm off, then I notice that I'm on social media a lot more. But now because I'm going on social media with a real purpose because of my businesses and the relationships I'm trying to conjure and the community I'm growing, I know I'm there and it actually feels better to be on social media. Whereas before, I was literally lost in and just, you know what I mean, doing things that didn't actually benefit me. So I agree back to what you were saying about the bending. Like when you bend social media for you, it's actually much of a beautiful place as opposed to it being like now where people are just mindlessly on it and then taking in information. I always say to people it's very important that you protect your energy. And like I said, I didn't want to get involved in certain conversations because I don't know. For me, it's like sometimes making noise I know it's not real. You know what I mean? Change.
It's not a discussion.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of people in the elevator shouting.
And there's no constructive, okay, let's action plan. This is what we're doing. So for me, if it's not like that from the get-go, and I don't have an action plan, then I'm of no use to this conversation.
And I also think for the good it does, because it does do good, you can find allies on social media, someone that you can find a group of people that all want to fight for the same purpose as you. And in this day and age, we've all seen with social injustices, it's a powerful thing to unify people. It's also a scary thing to unify people with bad deeds.
Yeah.
Because now it's a smelting pot for, okay, these guys stand for one thing, I need a couple of people that stand against it. And now what you have is you have a much more combative online experience. There's no nuances. There's no center person. There's no someone that says, I agree with that. You know, let's see it's either you're here or you're there. And I guess now it's like, you know what's funny? Everyone has that sort of like, that's common sense. Okay, that's a bit out of line. But now those people are perceived to be, you have to be this side or that side or you're not involved at all. You can't, I'll give you an example. You can't look at a Breonna Taylor case and say, okay, so let's break it down to what happened with the police, etc., etc. It's either the police need to get arrested, etc., or they should get off scot-free. And if anyone tries to come in the middle and talk about nuances and this is why they should get arrested, or this is why I think they shouldn't get arrested, you're castigated. That person does not exist online. You're either for or you're against. And I feel like whenever you put humans in that predicament, they're always prone to do some fucking crazy shit.
Yeah.
It's human instinct. When you feel attacked, you get defensive.
Yeah.
You don't need to necessarily be under attack. If you feel attack, you instinctively get defensive. And now if you're arguing the wrong point, you're gonna, like, social media is not the place to convince anyone of anything, really.
Why would you even go there to do that?
It's not.
Well, on that note, we're going to have to wrap it up now because we've gone longer than scheduled. But I think this is an amazing conversation about social media, a much needed conversation.
I had a lot of fun, guys.
Yeah,
I could be here all evening talking about this. Bring me back.
And yeah, man, thank you for listening. Make sure you use our discount code for our products on goodmanfactory.com, GPOD1. And yeah, you'll hear from us very soon. So have a nice evening. Peace.